I don't. All right, it is 7 o'clock. I'm going to call the meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. First item of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Sarah, would you do the honors?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All members of the Board of Selectmen are here and present. We'll move on to the approval of the meeting minutes.
Move to approve the December 5th, 2024 Board of Selectmen regular meeting minutes.
Is there a second? Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. We'll now turn to public participation. One of two opportunities for members of the public to address the Board of Selectmen. Since there is nobody who's with us online, I'll make the opportunity available to anybody who's here in the room. There will be another opportunity later in the meeting. Is there anybody here who would like to address the Board of Selectmen? Ma'am, I saw your hand first and then you, sir.
Reading got around.
Oh, I didn't even look over there. All right, you'll be third in the queue. No, you're up. Name and address, please.
Spencer, Reggie Way. As a member of the Board of Education, I'd like to express my support for the agenda item, the establishment of the ad hoc school facilities renovation committee. It's provided that the work that's already been done by this group under the guidance of the Board of Education Facilities Subcommittee is accepted, and there is no recreating rule, so to speak. Time is of the essence in order to keep with a designated time. This committee represents a vital next step in addressing the school facility projects, bringing together key stakeholders, including Board of Education, Board of Selectmen, and the Building Commission, parent representative, and community member. By working collaboratively, this group can help shape the project's next phase and ensure its success. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, ma'am. Sir.
Paul Anderson, 89 Main Street, Robert. I got two items, I believe. First, I would make a recommendation to the Board of Select that they create a policy on the actions of or the use of social media for elected officials. I'm not going to tell you what I think the policy ought to be. That's not my department. But I think there should be one. We got to keep up with technology. And I think technology is running away with things. So it's just a future item.
Thank you, sir.
Number two, I didn't even mention the name, but having been involved with the open space at West River Farms from day one, as president of the Scout Hall Building Committee Incorporated, I would like to recognize your November 14th letter that explained it absolutely correctly. And in my opinion, no further discussion should be necessary at this point in time. It is what it is, and it's been that way for umpty years. And as much as I may not like it, currently, the battle originally was West River Farms had to have open space. And they came to the town of East Windsor, whatever body was here at the time, and they said, no, thank you. That's a no. They said, no, thank you. They came to the Scout Hall Building Committee Incorporated, and we said, certainly, because we had property that borders Scantic Road, and it could be part of a trail system. That was fine. However, before we did that, it went to South Windsor's town council and said, do you want? And they said, no. Fine. So we took it on. Time goes by. And by the way, during that time, the road was maintained, plowed, whatever. Guess by who? Volunteers, us, it didn't matter. It got taken care of by people. Doesn't matter which people. Time goes on and South Windsor says, hey, how come we didn't get a chance to get that? Because the open space part of it is in their town. It's because they said they didn't want it. Now they wanted it. So back to the town of East Windsor and said, you want it? And the town of East Windsor said, no, thank you. Fine. Said to South Windsor, okay. It's legal for a town to own that and manage that open space. Okay, has to be a proper nonprofit, blah, blah, blah. It's all within the law. So they got it. It got signed over to them. All the detail was in the paperwork. They agreed, we agreed. That's a done deal. It's a legal entity. You're done. That's what you said you wanted, and now you have it. To me, the story's over. Nobody has to talk about it ever again because it's their problem. And that's the end of the story. And your letter is 100% on point. So thank you for that.
Thank you, sir. Is there other public comment? Yes, ma'am, and then you in the back. Name and address, please.
Read this with the time rights for the first. It is with sadness that I stand here before you as a resident of this community that I have served for many years on various board commissions. I have not always agreed with every issue, but I have always supported the decisions made. I also have done my best to listen to other points of views and reasonings given for such decisions by others. But I find this year that I no longer have the same respect due to all the half-truths, lies, and downright disrespect given to not only the Board of Selectmen original four, but the staff as well. I have read numerous comments on the Better East Windsor page that are toxic, defamatory, and outright childish, have chosen the high road due to my position on the Board of Selectmen. But after our last meeting of December 5th, 2024, I feel it's time to speak out. Keith Yagala lost against Jason Bowser, and due to town provisions, Keith was able to take a spot on the board by default. I feel I have done my best to show respect to Keith, although he has never, in my opinion, ever done so or is willing to do so. Example, transparency and fairness by our town budget, April 20th, 2024, on Facebook post. He said that is disproportionately favors recreational projects over crucial areas like police, public safety, and the Warehouse Point Library. But what he failed to say was a town survey rated recreational projects high. One voice, what our police department and public safety had several projects in the work, which he was aware of. He is aware that the process requires scrutiny by the Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance, and the town meeting before it goes to referendum. Response to a suggestion made by a resident on the East Windsor, Connecticut website page says, in part, not a bad idea that you presented, but it takes a competent and trustworthy government to make it work. We don't have that in East Windsor. And both these examples, he has found fault with people in the departments that he has personal issues with, and not in the best interest of the town, in my opinion. I find it interesting. The same have been working for the town for years without all the negativity, even when he was a town attorney in East Windsor. The list goes on and on, along with the damage he has done to individuals, departments, and family members. The last move he made was toward a Board of Selectmen member in a vile and despicable manner. I would ask for his removal if it was feasible to do so, but it's not. I would ask that the board change the town provision. The board has no place for a default candidate.
Ma'am in the back, name and address, please.
Question that last more than a year, Board of Ed has had a subcommittee that you all are aware of. It has done probably the first 5 steps in your ad hoc committee. I want to be sure that we don't step backward, that they have the ability to somehow adopt what the Board of Ed subcommittee has already We don't want to go back and have to reinvestigate what is needed in the schools. We already know that. We paid for a study of that. Don't want to go back and visit the schools that a lot of us have gone to, including the Selectmen. So there are things that I totally agree with the ad hoc committee, but I think that it might need some tweaking. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. If you read the objectives, the second paragraph, it references specifically that adoption of work done by previous municipal boards. Are there other public comment? Is there other public comment? Is there other public comment? There will be another opportunity at the end of the meeting. We have no communications. We do have a new appointment. Christina Nordell is here. She's known to most, if not all of us, and she's put her name up for consideration to fill the vacancy on the police commission. Mrs. Nordell, thank you for stepping forward. Certainly is appreciated. May I have a motion, please?
Move to appoint Christina Nordell as a regular member to the Police Commission for a term expiring on November 18th, 2025.
Second. Motion has been made and seconded. Any comment?
Thank you for stepping forward. I think she'll be a great addition to the Police Commission.
I'll second that.
All in favor of the nomination, please say aye. Opposed? Madam, you are appointed. You'll need to get sworn in by the town clerk, who actually is probably still here if you want to go do that. Actually, I could administer if you want, but. Okay, now our next item of business is a discussion of the resolution establishing an ad hoc school facilities renovation committee. So this is born out of the experiences that have been had by the consultants that we have employed in other communities. The intention with this is to take the work that has been done by the subcommittee for the Board of Education, adopt it and continue it forward under a body that is not made up only of within the Board of Education, but is part of a townwide effort. The intention is to keep everything exactly the same as it is now, but the subcommittee has added membership that is not either ex officio in nature or elected members of the Board of Education. So to make sure that we're continuing forward in a way that is compliant, I want to establish this committee so that they'll file their own meetings, their meeting agendas, their own meeting minutes, and they'll report back to the respective boards of education, selectmen, and the Permanent Building Commission. Again, this is to keep everything moving forward towards some sort of a public question, is to keep status quo in terms of the work that's been done and the composition. But it's just to make sure that we're doing so in a way that meets the four corners of the law. Questions or comments?
So I appreciate the two comments that were made tonight. I wasn't quite sure how I felt about this because I didn't know whether or not the schools ad hoc committee was ready or facilities committee was ready to hand it off. And so I heard from Heather saying you're ready and it's the natural next step. But Denise said that she was concerned about some aspect of this. So is it possible that we could ask Denise could you explain a little further what the specific kind of concern was?
Please.
I, at the last Board of Subcommittee meeting, in fact, came to the same realization as the Board of Selectmen have, that it is time to move to the joint committee. The main reason is that subcommittee is a subcommittee of the Board of Education. Add other people to that. And then we have the problem of should they be voting members? Shouldn't they be voting members? They're not on the Board of Ed, so they really shouldn't be included. We as Board of Ed members don't vote subcommittee. We bring reports to the full board. So it was a kind of complicated thing. I don't think that's exactly the way First Selectman was thinking about the ad hoc committee, the issues with it, but I think we came to the same conclusion as did the rest of the Board of Ed. Board of Education, from what I understand, is very comfortable moving forward with having it go to the ad hoc committee so that then we can make decisions that are on record as being with more of presidents as well as with them. That answers your question?
Does, and I watched the meeting with the Public Building Commission talking about appointing someone, and Jeff Ostrow wanted to join, but he had questions about whether he would be a voting member or participant. And I think Sarah answered some of that at the time. And so I thought for someone like him to be actively involved, this is the right way to go, if to assure it. But are we comfortable this is not going to destabilize the process? This is going to move it forward?
I think it will move it forward.
Right.
I think it's the logical next step.
Right.
And you don't want to see it as exclusionary. I can see it as start having the public. As the chair of the subcommittee, I was a little concerned that were we ready to go that next step? And maybe about a month and a half ago, I decided that there isn't a lot more that we can do without having more public participation. We want this to be a very town-wide decision for everyone.
So, thank you. And so the only other thing I saw in here was, so I'm going to support it because I'm going to support what the people that are in it say they need, of course. Under the committee composition, under ex officio members of the committee to include, it has the superintendent of schools who will serve as the primary staff for the ad hoc committee. I understand that. Then it says the deputy director of public works is going to be the primary project manager. And I was a little bit not sure about that, because wouldn't we want to have the ad hoc committee tell us who would be the project manager for this project before we decide that?
So he is the principal person in-house who manages construction projects for the town. That's not to say that there won't be a clerk of the works or a PM or some like a Collier's that gets involved, but the day-to-day contact with them for the management of any construction or renovation is run through Public Works, as it is a Public Works function.
I thought that the Public Building Commission was responsible for the project
And
and
the
the
day-to-day.
day-to-day, I mean, the operational part. I thought Public Building Commission decides who would be the clerk of the works or the day-to-day composition. And I have nothing against this person. I'm just saying that to decide at this point, because I don't know if the state's going to reimburse us if we don't have a public. Having served in South Windsor when they did their 5 schools on the town council and being the liaison for the Public Building Commission, participating in all of this, I know that the state required that the Public Building Commission be part and parcel of managing the project. And I'm just raising it as an issue. I'm still going to vote for it, but I think that it's early to decide who's going to manage the project. And again, I think the Public Building Commission, I've watched all their meetings, and they have stepped up and said, for example, the charge is, I think it's an ordinance or it's in the charter, but their charge is to manage all the construction, these projects. So I'm raising it as a point tonight, just so to send out get people thinking about this, that, including the Board of Selectmen, that the designated body to do this work is the Public Building Commission.
Once there's a project. There isn't a project until the voters approve it, which is when this committee would sunset.
Right, but that's different what you just said, Jason. You said that the day-to-day person managing the construction would be someone from Public Works, and that's why I'm raising the question. Once the project is a project, the day-to-day manager is the Public Building Commission who appoints a clerk of the works, and they will designate someone from the company, a representative, professional, to manage the day-to-day work. And it might be our person in-house, or it might be someone that they feel is more appropriate. I don't know, Heather, you said you're not going to say anything, were you? Or you can? I can ask you to.
The conversation is on the motion on the table.
Right. Okay, well, I'm going to support it because I want them to go ahead, but I'm just raising that as something to think about.
Further discussion? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, just on municipal representatives. When you look at the numbers of the groups, I don't have a problem with that, except for there be at least one ad hoc, one at-large person and no more than 3. But if you do the 3 and you total it up, that's 10. It's an even number.
Well, it's
And
not
they're
more
gonna-
than 3.
Yeah, but if they do the 3 and they do the other, that's 10, you're always going to have a tie, the potential for a tie. So I would like to see that short so that you never run into that predicament.
You want to have it be 2?
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Amend that. So 2 at-large members.
Yeah.
Okay. Further discussion?
We can do this as a fun.
I'll make the motion if you'd like.
Yeah, please.
Move to approve the resolution establishing an ad hoc school facilities renovations committee.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. It's 7:21. I should actually share with the group. I'd ask for a motion to postpone or to table agenda 9B until our next meeting.
To table 9B until our next meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And at this point, I'd like to break for a recess for the town meeting. Can I have a motion to go into recess?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, it is 7:22, and we are going to take a break until town meeting. All right, it is 7:30. I'm going to call the annual town meeting to order. Our first item of business is the election of a moderator. Are there nominations?
Moscow 25 Maple Avenue, I nominate Alan Baker as moderator.
Is there a second?
Second, Early Nordell, 7 Grandview Terrace.
Are there other nominations? Are there other nominations? Are there other nominations?
Move that nominations be closed.
Second,
Motion has been made and seconded to close nominations. All in favor of closing nominations, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All in favor of Alan Baker as moderator, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, it's all yours.
Yeah, so that's only fair. He's had to do it for 7 years.
know.
All right, it's 7:31. And okay, so we're going to now ask the town clerk to read the town meeting public notice.
Town of East Windsor Annual Public Town Meeting Notice. The legal voters of the Town of East Windsor are hereby warned that a town meeting will be held in the John Daly Jr. Meeting Room, Town Hall, 11 Rice Street, Broadbrook, on December 19th, 2024 at 7:30 PM for the following. 1, to consider and act upon a resolution that the reports of the first selectman, town finance director, treasurer, and other town officers be accepted as printed, errors and omissions accepted. 2, to consider and act upon the recommendation of the Board of Selectmen pursuant to Connecticut General Statute 7-9B that the hours for referenda held by the Town of East Windsor in the calendar year 2025 be held from 6 AM to 8 PM. 3, to consider and act upon a resolution authorizing and empowering the first selectman and town finance director / treasurer to borrow from time to time on behalf of and in name of the town for the purpose of meeting current expenses until the tax monies are available, and to issue notes for same and to determine the amount of such notes and to execute, sell, and deliver the same. 4, to consider and act upon a resolution authorizing the selectmen as provided in Chapter 240, Part 2A of the General Statutes of the State of Connecticut, revision of 1959, and as amended, to enter into any and all agreements with the Commissioner of the Connecticut Department of Transportation relative to the expenditure of any unexpended balance of highway funds allotment due to the town on July 1st, 2024, and to enter into an agreement with said commissioner concerning the expenditure of said allotment. 5, to consider and act upon rescinding the use of $70,000 from local capital improvement, LoCIP, for the purchase and outfitting of a police cruiser and authorizing the use of $70,000 from LoCIP toward road paving. 6, to consider and act upon rescinding the use of 70,000 from capital non-recurring unallocated CNR toward road paving and authorizing the use of 70,000 from CNR funds towards the purchase and outfitting of a police cruiser. 7, to consider and act upon the recommendation of the Capital Improvement Planning Committee and the Board of Selectmen concerning the town's 2024-2029 capital improvement plan dated at East Windsor, Connecticut, this 13th day of December, 2024. East Windsor Board of Selectmen, Jason E. Bauza, First Selectman, Marie D'Souza, Deputy Selectman, Sarah Muska, Selectman, Alan Baker, Selectman, Keith Yagloff, Selectman.
Thank you. All right, I'll now read the eligibility to vote. CGS Chapter 90, Section 7-6, in any town meeting other than a regular or special town election, or at any meeting of any fire, sewer, or school district, or any other municipal subdivision of any town incorporated by any special act, any person who is an elector of such town may vote, and any citizen of the United States of the age of 18 years or more who jointly or severally is liable to the town's district or subdivision for taxes assessed against him on an assessment of not less than $1,000 on the last completed grand list of such town, district, or subdivision, or who would be so liable if not entitled to an exemption under Connecticut General State Statute Subdivision 17, 19, 22, 23, 25, or 26 of Section 12-81 may vote unless restricted by the provisions of any special act relating to such town, district, or subdivision. We have the item number 1.
To consider and act upon a resolution that the reports of the first selectman, town finance director, treasurer, and other town officers be accepted as printed, errors and omissions accepted, and the foregoing resolution be adopted.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2.
Number 2, to consider and act upon the recommendation of the Board of Selectmen pursuant to Connecticut General Statute 7-9B, that the hours for referenda held by the town of East Windsor in the calendar year 2025 be held from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. I move the foregoing resolution be adopted. Early Nordell, 7 Grandview Terrace.
Second by Jason Bauza. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3.
Item number 3, consider and act upon a resolution authorization and empowering the selectmen and town finance director / treasurer to borrow from time to time on behalf of and in the name of the town for the purpose of meeting current expenditure until the tax monies are available, and to issue notes for same and determine the amount of such notes to include, sell, and deliver the same. Scott Tripp, 76 Windsor.
Thank you. Is there a second? Okay, is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4.
Richard Tuller, 412 Canyon Ridge Drive. Item number 4, to consider and act upon a resolution authorizing the selectmen as provided in chapter 240, part 2A of the general statutes of the state of Connecticut, division of 1959, and as amended, to enter into any null agreements with the commissioner of the Connecticut Department of Transportation relative to the expenditures of any unexpended balance of highway funds allotment due to the town on July 1st, 2024, and to enter into an agreement with said commissioner concerning the expenditure of said allotment. I move the foregoing resolution be adopted.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item carries. Item number 5.
Reggie Way, to consider and act upon rescinding the use of $70,000 for the local capital improvement for the purchase and outfitting of a police cruiser and authorizing the use of $70,000 from LoCIP towards road paving. I move the foregoing resolution be adopted.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. All right. You have item number 6, please.
Chairman Trip 76. To consider and act upon rescinding the use of $70,000 from capital non-recurring unallocated CNR toward road paving and authorizing the use of $70,000 from CNR funds for the purchase and outfitting of the police cruiser. And move the foregoing resolution be adopted.
Motion is seconded. Any discussion?
Be clarified whether the police department is getting 2 cruisers into this allocation of funds? Or is the allocation of funds covering 1 cruiser plus paving? Or is there
I'm going to let Amy take that one.
70 for each thing?
No, so what happened when, earlier, we did a town meeting that we did 70,000 from both sides of the police cruiser, and they don't allow vehicles. So we had to swap, the 300,000 went to road pavement and 70 went to the cruiser. This is just swapping the 70 so that 70 of the CNR goes to the cruiser and 70 of the LoCIP goes to the road paving. So they still end up with 370 each individually. It's just swapping the funding source.
Makes sense.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And item number 7.
Carol Street, to consider and act upon the recommendation of the Board of Selectmen concerning the town's 2024 through 2029 capital improvement plan. I move the foregoing resolution be adopted.
Motion is seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
We adjourn town meeting at 7:41.
Where was the second? I heard one over here.
Heather first.
Heather, speech to it. All right,
Take it a vote.
all in favor?
Aye.
Mission, meeting adjourned, 7:41.
Super.
Oh, yeah.
All right, it's 7:44. I'm going to call the Board of Selectmen back to order. Our next item of business, I'm going to ask that we postpone agenda 9C until after executive session. May I have a motion to do so?
So move.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Tax refunds.
move to approve the tax refunds totaling $405.71.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now I'm going to go on to Selectmen's reports. On December 6th, I had the opportunity to tour Pell Farm. If anybody is not familiar with where Pell Farm is, it's on Rockville Road, and you drive by at night, it's all lit up in like pink fluorescent lights. They're growing hydroponic strawberries there in those greenhouses, and they're able to grow it all year round. Actually, their quiet season is strawberry season. The rest of the time, they're able to grow strawberries all year round, and they actually send those to either Boston or New York City, and they fetch a serious premium on them. It was an awesome visit. I've known Kevin Pell for a little while, and to be able to see what he's doing there was really cool. I have since reached out to the Department of Agriculture and suggested that the commissioner come out and take a tour of that. And I understand that he is trying to schedule that for shortly after the new year, which I think would be cool. Congratulations to Kevin on what he's doing. Later that same day, I was very pleased to attend the promotional ceremony for now Lieutenant Derek Lieb. Lieutenant Lieb is a career East Windsor police officer who's risen through the ranks quickly due to hard work and commitment and through demonstrated leadership skills and earned respect from his peers and coworkers. Congratulations to Lieutenant Lieb. On December 12th, I was very pleased to help out at the PTO's holiday store at the Broadbrook Elementary School. This is the third year I've been able to participate in that event, which is an opportunity for young students to shop, and I mean like young students, like 3-4 years old, to shop for their families for the holidays. And they get some independence in doing it, and they get adults to come in and be guest shoppers that go with them and help them make sure they stay within their budget and they're getting for the people on their list. It is a cute experience. I had a ton of fun, and I'm looking forward to doing it again next year. On December 14th, I had the opportunity to attend 2 Wreaths Across America ceremonies. One as an invited guest for the widow of a former East Windsor resident who was interred at the Agawam Veterans Cemetery. And I went up to that, and there had to be at least 2,000 people in attendance, and they were able to place 10,000 wreaths. It was a remarkable ceremony. And I was able to schedule it out so that I could get from that back to East Windsor in time to do our local commemoration as well. And while I was in East Windsor, I had the striking realization that about a third of the veterans that are interred in our corner of our veteran ceremony, I've had dinner with. And kind of strikes you that you don't necessarily know all that somebody has done until you learn after they're no longer here. Just as an example, how many people in this room knew that Paul Anderson was involved in the blockade during the Cuban Missile Crisis? A couple of family members.
I did.
That's a conversation. You should have a conversation while you can, because Paul's got stories.
Yeah, time's limited.
That same night, my family and I swung by the Problem Solved Brewery to attend their Ugly Sweater Party and coat drive, which helps people in need in town through the East Windsor Community Services programs. Problem Solved has hosted this event for several years in a row, and it's a great community partnership, and we appreciated their support. On December 16th, I joined Senator Anwar and Representative Foster in a meeting with the development team at the Connecticut Trolley Museum. They are hard at work trying to secure funding to renovate their theater, the theater that is on their campus, convert it into meeting space that would expand their programming offerings and also be available to community groups in East Windsor who are looking for a place to either meet or experience living history. The museum has a really dedicated team of very competent volunteers who are going to make big things happen there. And every time I meet with them, I'm just more and more impressed that they have the vision and the ability to pull this stuff off. And anybody who hasn't had a chance to go and visit them, you should make time to do so. Following that, I attended, that was Wednesday. Following that, I attended the East Windsor Housing Authority's board and the Board of Finance meeting. Key takeaways from the Board of Finance is that our audit was presented. The town's audit was clean. The Board of Ed's audit was much improved over where they've been. And I know there's been a lot of work, so kudos to the Board of Ed for that. Our undesignated fund balance is at 23%. Our pension valuation is over 90%, which is the highest I've ever seen it. And also quite healthy for municipal standards. And our OPEB trust, which has only been around for about 10 years, is more than 60% funded. All of those are really good metrics, especially in comparison with other municipalities. So the town's financial position is strong and continuing to move forward. Today, I met with the town's first responders and Motorola to discuss wants and needs of the fire service as we move forward with the replacement of the town's very antiquated radio system. Kudos to Chief Carl for the very hard work he's done in making that long overdue project become a reality. Coming up on this Saturday, the Broadbrook Fire Department and Community Services are hosting a torchlight parade. That's always a fun event. People go back to the firehouse afterwards and they have cookies and cocoa and visits with Santa. But it's going to be cold this year. So if you're going to go, make sure you button up. The Five Corner Cupboard will also be collecting non-perishable food items for the Five Corner Cupboard at that event. On January 1st, the AHRC is putting on their annual New Year's Day hike. That starts at 1 o'clock. And just one more kudos to the East Windsor Police Union, who last night put on Shop with a Cop at Walmart, and they made Christmas happen for 20 East Windsor children in 9 families over the span of about 3 hours. It is like one of the most touching things you can be a part of, is to see the looks on the kids' faces as somebody in a full-on police uniform escorts them through Walmart and helps them get ready for their holiday. I mean, they make Christmas for these kids. So lots of good things happening. I'll turn that over now to Marie.
Yeah, on December the 11th, I attended a meeting at the police station for the police commission. They went over their financials, and then they had 2 traffic issues they addressed. One was on Throw Road, where there was a concern about the traffic flow and the mileage that was being done. They're going to put out a public announcement on that, but they're not going to do any additional signage on that road. They also had a request for signage on Wrinkle Road by the trolley tracks. And they investigated that, and there's no need to put any signage on there. And that was basically it, other than staffing, which I've already addressed previously. Last night I attended the Park Hill Housing Authority meeting. They went over their financials. And the only thing that hasn't been reported previously is that they are looking at, they got 2 grant applications already out there that are waiting to be approved. They're not approved, but they're also now looking to put solar panels out there. And they'll be working with Jason and probably Jamie Thorle to look and see what their options are. One funding, they're not able to do it. Another funding, they might be able to repair the roof and do the solar panel. So that's up in the air. So that's their next big project that they're looking at. So
All right, Steve.
I'm good tonight, thanks.
Al.
I have nothing for you this evening, except for Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Sarah.
I don't have anything this evening either. It's my busy season at work, so I've been working late. So Happy New Year to everyone.
All right. Public participation, public's second opportunity to address members of the Board of Selectmen. Same rules as before. I'll first turn to anybody who is here in the room and then provide anybody online the same opportunity. Is there anybody here in the room who would like to address the Board of Selectmen? Yes, sir. Name and address, please.
Paul Anderson, 59 Main Street. You mentioned the Torchlight Parade. The Broadbrook Public Library will be open during the parade. It's a great vantage point.
Yes, it is.
And we have heat. So people are more.
I'd say it's a good place to hang out on a cold night.
I'll be on an open air hay wagon, so.
What? And we have a bathroom.
Oh, geez, you don't want those lines. I wouldn't announce that.
Whatever it would take.
Any other public participation?
Fundraiser.
Is there any other public participation? Is there any other public participation? Is there anyone online who would like to address the members of the Board of Selectmen?
Yes.
Seeing none, we will have an executive session. It's to include the members of the Board of Selectmen, Deputy Chief Murphy and Chief Carl. May I have a motion, please?
Move that we go into executive session.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm recusing on the second item.
Okay.
What I can find.
We are in executive session at 7:55.
Everybody have a nice holiday.
It is 8:52. We're out of executive session. We'll return to the call of the agenda. Take up agenda item 9C, discussion vote on the police dispatchers collective bargaining agreement. Is there a motion?
Move to approve the agreement between the town of East Windsor and East Windsor Police Dispatchers Teamsters Local 76.
Is there?
76, 761, isn't it?
Oh, I'm sorry, 761. Thank you for that. Sorry.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. With no further business to come before the Board of Selectmen, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
You're gonna report that to the secretary.
Do you want to make a clarification who's in the room voting?
Oh, you're right. So here present are Selectman Baker, D'Souza, and Muska. Absent is Selectman Yageloff.
Yeah, I just would hate for to put out there that was anonymous and then him saying, oh, they falsified the minutes.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move that we adjourn at 8:54 PM.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.